Yes, the Nats. 19 runs in the last 2 games, unloading on the Rangers pitching staff in a couple of blowout wins. Today, Tanner Roark gets the call, boasting a minuscule 1.19 career ERA in his home ballpark. Don't you go anywhere. The Nats look to finish a 3-game sweep. Score some runs, hit some home runs, and everybody wants to come to the ballpark. Another big crowd expected today as the Nats try to sweep the talented Texas Rangers. Both ball clubs at 500, but the Nats probably feeling a little bit better getting back to 500 from 25 and 27. Bob and FP, amazing how the whole complexion of everything around here changes when the offense is clicking.
Yeah, I mean, they've been outstanding the last couple of games, scoring 19 runs, hits everywhere, middle of the lineup doing their thing, top of the order doing their thing, and we like to talk about offense.
3 games better than last year at this point, but the record is the same. The Nats have played 54 games, 108 left, so exactly 1/3 of the way through the season. And we remember 2012, FP, that series record, that's when this ball club really shone, when they won series just right and left, really.
They did, and you knew you were going to hear it today. Great teams take sweep series, good teams take 2 out of 3. But when you talk about the Nats record and where they are right now, everybody last year saying the Nats had a bad season, 10 games over 500, a disappointing year. 10 games over 500 this year just may win the National League East.
Yeah, Braves aren't doing a whole lot to run away, although they've beaten the Marlins twice this weekend. Let's have a look at the pitching matchup. It's an interesting one as we get our first look ever at Yu Darvish. He's made 9 starts, 4-2, 2.35 ERA, and a little bit of neck discomfort lately, but good to go.
Yeah, 10 days rest, so we'll see if the strength for Yu Darvish comes into play. He's going to be strong today. Guy on the right, 4 pitches. Guy on the left, 24 pitches. We'll check it out when they get on the mound.
Yeah, and that's not his pitch count. That's his repertoire. We've talked about offense. We've talked about pitching. How about some defense? Anthony Rendon anchoring the hot corner yesterday. He was outstanding. So that was the inside part of it. In the outfield, while Rendon was still making plays, look at the communication between Span and Worth to turn a double, maybe a triple, into an out. Then the Espinosa and Desmond double play. Great D. Here on the Nats today here at the ballpark. Beautiful day, big crowd. Visit trainsearch.com. Find your local train comfort specialist dealer. It's hard to stop a train, really hard.
Attitudes everywhere. I love it.
And it's hard to stop Tanner Roark. When he's ready, he's like Doug Fister. It's going to be on time. We're sitting at 1:35. It's game time. Daniel Robertson for the Rangers. And Tanner Roark throws one inside. That just misses.
I see the arsenal for Tanner Roark. Fastball averaging 90 this year. It averaged 92.7 last year. Slider 83, curveball 73, changeup 82.
And that one's in there, 1-1. Tanner Roark making his 11th start of the year against the team that drafted him and had him in their organization for a while before he came over here in a trade for Christian Guzman at the trading deadline back in 2010. Daniel Robertson for Michael Choice, who was scratched about 20 minutes ago. Robertson in this series 0 for 1. 3 for 21 in 11 games, and that one bounces way outside.
Well, they didn't tell us what the injury was, but they announced it as a bad choice. I just had to do that. I mean, I couldn't even help myself. I almost didn't do it.
Michael Choice was in the leadoff spot.
Well, Tanner Roark last time out was really good against the Marlins. He just wasn't good against Giancarlo Stanton. A lot of pitchers could say that.
And a ball hit hard. Adam LaRoche right there. Roark was there if needed. And by the way, it's a left shin contusion for Choice, and Shin Soo Choo was supposed to be in that spot, but he's hurting as well. So the Rangers have some injuries they're dealing with. Alex Rios is, well, he's been cooled off by the Nats. 0 for 6 with a walk in this series. 0 for his last 10, but he's still 4th in the American League in hits, and he's hitting .320 on the road. He'll be on deck as Elvis Andrus steps in here, top of the first. Rangers batting average second only to the Tigers in the American League. Detroit 272, Texas 266, but they're 7th in runs. Clint Fagan has the plate. Crew chief over at first is Jeff Nelson. Scott Berry, Laz Diaz, second and third. Fastball inside, 2-0. On the 26th against Miami, as FP mentioned. Roark not at his very best. That's pretty well placed. Espinosa with the gun. Not enough to get the speedy Elvis Andrus. I'm surprised Danny made it that close. Not many second basemen could.
Now, the only way you get Andrus right there is if Ian Desmond is coming flying across the middle and he gets that, but he went behind Espinosa. Espinosa with a strong arm on the run going into left field makes it that close. Andrus with an infield single, first knock of the day for the Rangers.
That'll bring in Alex Rios. Short lead by the runner, and he hits one out to center off the end of the bat. Here comes Span, and he has to play it on a hop. Then the ball gets by him, and the runner goes on to third base. This will be an interesting decision for the scorer. Did the ball get by him on its own?
Oh, I think they gave Denard Span an error on this, and I don't know that I've ever seen Denard Span.
This is his first error in a year and a half as a Washington National. A year and a third, basically. First time ever as a Nat.
Well, Tanner Roark, no chance to get comfy in this one. He's got to go to his A stuff right out of the gate.
Yeah, against one of the best sluggers in the American League over the last decade, Adrian Beltre, and that's in there. Inside, that is. For ball one, Beltre in this series 3 for 7. All of those hits coming Friday night, a double and 2 singles.
And when you're facing Yu Darvish, not a lot of wiggle room.
Back they hollered to Rios, who has stolen 10 bases in 16 attempts. Had him reaching. And a good pitch to even the count, 1-1.
So the defense for the Nats, third game of the series, going for the sweep. McLeod, Span, Worth the outfield. Desmond Rendon left side, Espinosa LaRoche right side, and Wilson Ramos back behind the dish.
Runner going at first and a swing and a foul. Well, just a footnote on that Denard Span error. It's his first error in his 201st game as a Washington National. Some streak.
That's impressive. So fastball in, slider away, fastball in. In, out, in. Do they go out right here? And going back in.
Runner holding, swing and a miss. Roark with 93 to get by Adrian Beltre.
Yeah, a little reach back right there from Tanner Roark, and a much needed strikeout in a high stress situation here in the first inning. Location mistake, but he got away with it. He was trying to pound this one down and in. He threw it on the outer half, and you can see Beltre looking for that fastball in the inner half. Kind of flies out of there just a hair soon, and it's by him. Adrian Beltre playing with the stiff neck he has this whole series.
Donnie Murphy is the only hitter in the Ranger lineup who's ever hit against Roark. That was in Chicago last year, 1-for-1 with an RBI. He's getting play at first base today and a step off by Tanner. Two Nats have faced Darvish. We'll tell you about that when they come up. But both ball clubs, for the most part, getting a first look in person at the opposing right-hander. Benji Molina coaching over there at first. They've got good speed at third and first base.
Be interesting to see if Matt Williams decides to throw through right here. Should Rio steal, or just hold it and go after the hitter?
Well, after the hitter on that one, good breaking ball at 84. Murphy didn't like the call from Clint Fagan.
And look at the off-speed pitch down in the zone, 84 miles an hour, the slider for strike one.
Rangers are 6 back of Oakland, who came from behind to beat the Angels last night. They've won the first 2 games of that series. And the Nats are only a half game back of Miami now after the Marlins gave away a late lead and lost again to Atlanta. And the Marlins behind Nathan Eovaldi ahead this afternoon, 2-0. One.
Just looking to see if Rios is tipping his hand over there. Got a little bit lower on that lead. And base runners often will tip the fact that they're going to steal. Bigger lead. Maybe the lean going. Sometimes they stand up higher. Sometimes they get lower. He looks like he's going. Well.
1-1 on the hold, and Roark, when he has needed it, has the swing and miss fastball. 1-2.
Very quick to the plate too right there. So he sped up his delivery. Threw 92 right down the middle, and yeah, you called it. Good fastball today for Tanner Roark.
And even though he's lost 2 starts in a row, he's pitched pretty well. Only 4 earned runs in 13 innings. But the Nats have only scored 3 for him. See if he can get out of this thing, and then the offense goes to work like it has been. Runner goes at first, way outside. The throw is through, and then coming home easily is Elvis Andrus. And then, did Rios come off the bag?
Well, does the run count? I think the run counts either way.
Yeah, it should.
If he slid past the bag and Andrus crossed home plate, the run counts, and they're pointing to home plate right now saying the run counts, and Matty Williams is out to argue. And I don't think Wilson Ramos looked Elvis Andrus back at third base. He just came out throwing to second base. Rios had a tremendous jump And see if Ramos looks to third. No, he just throws it to second. That's an easy read for Andrus. You're just looking for a catcher to look you back. That'll stop you at third base. Ramos didn't. Through.
And even though he got to the bag, it is still listed as a caught stealing. The one thing I'll have to say about the umpiring crew, Jeff Nelson hustling in from first base. Now why would they be waving the Nats back onto the field if there was an out call at second base? Evidently we have been cleared to go to our break. So it appears the Rangers lead 1-0.
Challenge this to see if Elvis Andrus crossed home plate before Alex Rios was tagged out at second base. We have a pretty good look for you from behind home plate right here. So if Rios is out at second base before Andrus crosses home, the run doesn't count. So where was he out?
Ooh.
And I think Matt Williams has a really good case right here. So is he out right there when his foot pops off? Or is he out right there? And I think if it's in the middle of the slide, it's an easy one. If he bounced off the base in the middle of his slide to where both feet came off, this will give you a better look. This is synced up. So I'm thinking he's out right there. And even if he's out right there, Andrus hasn't crossed home plate. But as we've seen with replay and challenges, it has to be beyond a shadow of a doubt.
And the interesting thing about that play at second base, the runner is out when the tag is made when he's off the bag, which happened, FP, to me at least a second before the umpire was able to make the out call.
Well,
so they can't go by the umpire. They got to go by what they see with the glove and the runner.
We're being told that Texas is actually challenging the fact that Rios is out at second. But Matt Williams in the right-hand corner looks very concerned.
Yeah.
And I think... Can both managers challenge something different at the same time?
The Nats are challenging the run did not cross home plate. The Rangers are challenging the tag out of Alex Rios. And
if you're at home,
do you have to decide one before the other?
I don't know, but if you're at home, feel free to challenge something right now because everybody else is.
This is going to take a while. You know it is. Now right there, he's off the bag. A lot of runners will go in with that lead foot FP, and then it pops up over the bag.
He's off right there. He's off right there. His foot's back on at the very end, and that's when Espinosa tags him for the second time. No run.
And the Nats get the best of both. The runner is out at second, and the other runner did not cross home plate. And the Nationals will now have a scoreless top of the first on the ledger of Tanner Roark. We're going to go to our regular commercial break. Don't go away. We've got an interesting start to this. A runner caught stealing, another runner not getting home quickly enough. And so now Matt Williams still has challenge action to work with. Ron Washington does not. FP, take us through it.
Well, they're seeing if Rios is out at second base before the run scores. That's Matt Williams' challenge. Ron Washington's challenge is Rios out at all at second base? So I don't know if this has happened before, but it's the first time I've ever seen a double challenge from both managers on the same play. Matt Williams wins because he's out right there, they're determining. And Ron Washington loses. And I think both managers had a really good idea about the challenge. I would have done the same thing Ron Washington did. I would have done the same thing Matt Williams did. Just fascinating here before the Nats even come up to the plate.
It's like they're already ahead 1-0.
A super duper double secret challenge by both managers. Wow.
There's one more thing I noticed about that replay. Elvis Andrus was not running full speed to home plate.
Yeah.
May have cost them that run.
Right.
Once he saw the throw go through, he just started cruising, and it might cost the Rangers. Span kills this ball beyond the reach of Alex Rios into the bullpen, and a leadoff double. And listen to this, Nats fans. Denard Span in this series is 5 for 10 with a walk, and he's already scored 3 runs.
All right, I'm taking a deep breath, and we're going to start all over again. Reset. There goes the no-hitter, first of all, and Denard Span with a leadoff double.
And
greeting Yu Darvish very rudely.
He's 4 for 5 career against Yu Darvish with 2 doubles now. So there is one hitter that Darvish is really happy isn't in the American League anymore. That's the Nats leadoff guy.
And there goes the no-hitter is a big deal against Yu Darvish, trust me.
It is. Almost had one earlier this year. Here's Rendon. He's 5 for 10 in the series. Hits it hard the other way. I thought about going to third for Donnie Murphy. And FP, you told me before the game Donnie Murphy has played virtually no first base in his career.
No, Ron Washington came in the clubhouse and said, hey, you're playing first today. They came out early, took ground balls, and shocking that it found him.
Let's see if their defense can stop this offense. Anthony Rendon, 6 for 10 before that AB. And then Worth, LaRoche, Ramos, Nate McClouse come alive. He and Desmond home run Friday night. The Nats get Danny Espinosa going. This is really going to be something. I think I said Rendon 5 for 10. He was 6 for 10 coming into that at bat. Now here's Worth. He's 4 for 8 in the series. So that's 15 hits now by the first 3 men in the lineup in this series. Rangers infield weigh in.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're showing respect for Tanner Roark here. That may be the fact they haven't scored runs like they usually do the last couple games. Nats pitching staff has been tough on Texas. Worth high in the air. Looks like it's leaving play, and it will.
Set the defense for the Rangers today. Robertson, Martin, Rios the outfield, Andrus Beltre left side, Sardinas, Murphy right side, and Chris Jimenez behind the plate. So Yu Darvish has a 4-seam fastball. Stay with me, folks. 2-seam fastball.
You get caught up.
Slider, curveball, cut fastball. He's got a changeup, a split, and a slower curveball, 179, 169. He'll throw the rosin bag and maybe even that cleat cleaner behind it.
Worth takes one outside, ball 1.
And he's got reach back 96, by the way. His fastball average is 94. The 2-seam fastball average is 93. And the cutter 90.
Nats a great chance to take the lead. Did it bottom of the first yesterday. Trailed by 2 early Friday. And Worth will hit one out to short left center. Going back, Andrus, back to the infield. And when I thought for a moment that with the shortstop's back to the infield, Span might go back and tag. And he's still at third base with 2 outs. Worth busting his bat on that one. Yu Darvish go inside the numbers with STG Inc. So there's an Asian flavor to those very, very good American League ERAs, and Darvish is 4th. He's also 5th in opponent's batting average at 215.
Well, the Nats have done pretty good against aces around the league. You remember they beat Zach Greinke. They beat Jose Fernandez. They did very well against Sonny Gray.
Faced Kazmir in the final of that Oakland series, but that's the day Gio had that game where he gave up a couple of home runs early.
Johnny Cueto was the best pitcher on the planet. They beat him, so they're not afraid of your ace.
Well, LaRoche in this series, 3 for 8, a homer, 3 RBIs. He's walked. And Adam is 7 for 21 in 5 games since coming off the DL a week ago today. Down the line, Span. A threat of a throw, but there's nobody covering third. As Jimenez came popping up. Ball 3.
I think he called it a strike.
Whoa, he did? Well, the dugout kind of like me, in disbelief. 2-1.
That's his daily up and away strike.
And some of those this year haven't been that close.
It has to be the beard. It makes him look like he's way closer to the plate.
Atlanta has scored 2 to tie Miami. 2-1, target away. And LaRoche will roll it over and hope it stays foul, which it does. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nats coming off an 11-15 month of May. They were 16-12 in April. Weather warming up. Ballpark starting to play a little smaller than it did on some of those cold early spring evenings. And a big crowd today. 35,000 yesterday, 31, almost 32 Friday.
That's a good take.
Ooh.
I mean, that's probably Darvish's best pitch, the slider. It's his out pitch, and this one looked like a strike for a long time. LaRoche spit on it, and he's still standing there. My brain swung at that so hard. I'm sitting on the dugout, getting my glove.
Payoff pitch. Ramos on deck. And Adam LaRoche works his 23rd walk of the year. He was one of the league leaders at the time of his injury. So the Nats will force Darvish to throw a lot of pitches here in the first inning. Here comes Ramos.
Wilson has a kind of approach against a guy like Darvish that throws everything but the kitchen sink. And when I say that, he's not a thumber. I mean, 95, 96, he's got tremendous stuff. But with Wilson's approach, he keeps his hands inside the ball. That covers a lot of Darvish's pitches, meaning he's not going to pull off, try to pull the baseball here. Going to stay back, think about going the other way. And it's not a bad matchup for Matt Williams right here, right now.
How about the Nats catchers in this series? 3 for 7, a homer, 3 RBIs, and a walk. After Ramos drove one in Friday night and Lobaton hit the 2-run homer yesterday. And a foul tip. Looked like it got Clint Fagan, the umpire. Ramos, 6-game hitting streak, 10 for 25. And in this series, it's all come together. 19 runs in 2 games. The homers, the average, the slugging. And as important as anything, how they're swinging with runners in scoring position. That's batting average up to 251. It started the series at 246.
I'm not sure, but I think that was Matt Williams smiling right there.
Save that one for the archives after 1:35 in the afternoon. Ramos takes one in there, 96.
Both pitchers high stress first innings, going to their best stuff right out of the gate.
Roark had to throw 17 pitches. This is 16 for Darvish, and it's inside. That's going to get him on the inside corner. Wilson Ramos had that ball coming at his left shoulder, and when he buckled, Darvish struck him out. So the Rangers led. Now they don't, and it's tied after one. Mobilizing your world. By Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com. And by Night Point Systems. They offer the technology you need when you need it. Beautiful day at the ballpark. Nats looking for a sweep, trying to go over 500. Rangers looking to salvage a run, actually a ball game at the end of their run on the road here. This will be their 11th game of this trip. They're 6-4. And they lead off with Donnie Murphy, who was in the box when all the madness took place in the first inning. Ball 2. Murphy hitting .213. .255 in 46 games with the Cubs last year. He was in AAA most of the season for Chicago. Hits one hard to left. And the Rangers' first 5 hitters, 3 of them have base hits.
85th Major League All-Star Game is Tuesday, July 15th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Target Field. Vote early, vote often, vote for LaRoche. Be sure to vote for your favorite National. Place your votes now at nationals.com/vote. Or you could just write in bullpen. Nats bullpen.
You could write in Stuart Clippiano for Stuart, Clippard, and Soriano. And Roark falling behind some hitters here early. Leonis Martin, the center fielder, 1 for 7 this weekend. Still batting .278. And a pretty good hack straight back it went. Mets and Phillies scoreless early in Philadelphia. They will be here, the Phils, on Tuesday with Jordan Zimmerman and David Buchanan, a rookie, on the mound. First of 3. 1-1 to Martin. Rendon shallow at third.
It was interesting today. You know, Nats took optional BP. Rangers didn't hit, but Donnie Murphy came out, riffed Ron Washington, and took ground balls at first base. Washington came in the clubhouse and said, "Hey, have you ever played first?" He said, "No." "Well, you're playing first today. Let's go out and get some work done." And if anybody can tune somebody up that quick, it's Ron Washington, probably the best infield coach I've ever had. And I got down there and talked to him today, and just going over some basic things about backhanding balls and not letting the ball play you and being aggressive with your backhand back toward the hitter and not giving with the backhand side. And He was out there with bench coach Tim Bogart, Spike Owen, and they were hitting Murphy a bunch of ground balls. They had him standing on first base, showing him how to stretch. I mean, it was first base 101. So a guy that plays the middle infield should be okay over there, but we'll keep an eye on Murphy today.
Especially considering how the Nats bunt.
He's a good athlete. And a Nat killer.
Donnie Murphy, 31 years of age, big league time with Kansas City, Oakland, the Marlins, and the Cubs.
I was calling him Babe Murphy in that Cubs series last year. He had a lot of big hits.
One ball and 2 strikes. Medium lead by Murphy. He's holding. And some jammage right there. Rendon will put away the one-hander for the first out. Inside the numbers with STG Inc. And among active pitchers, Jose Fernandez inactive for the Marlins right now. Craig Kimbrell. You know you have a good ERA in that big ballpark in Atlanta. And Tanner right here.
I think Craig Kimbrell has a good ERA in any ballpark.
Another save for him last night. Chris Jimenez, the catcher. 5-game hitting streak, 11 hits. He was 2 for 4 here Friday night.
Well, that's a good pitch, good spot. If he stays right there, he's going to be in this game a long time. 92 miles an hour to a corner, down in the zone with sink. Watch the pitch track. Probably just nips the bottom left-hand corner. Perfect pitch.
Yeah, just inside the box on the Nissan pitch track. And the 0-1. Tanner Roark was in the Rangers organization 08-09. And then 17 starts into 2010 with their Double-A Frisco before the Nats got him, and he was shipped off to Harrisburg where he made 6 starts for the Senators. 1-1 with a runner moving and reaching to protect him. Jimenez with the foul ball, 1-2.
Yeah, Ron Washington trying to create some offense right there, going hit and run in a 1-1 count. Jimenez reached for the pitch. And you see him with the stopwatch in his hand. He's timing Tanner Roark to the plate so that he knows if he can send runners. He's trying to hide it. Not doing a good job.
That's his bench coach, Tim Bogart, alongside. Their hitting coach is Dave Magadan. Very good left-handed batter in his time. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Tanner still searching for his command in the early going here. That was a trading deadline deal. The Rangers needed an infielder with some pop. They were trying to make a run to the playoffs, and the Nats parted with one of their long-time really good hitters, Christian Guzman. Hit for here. Two-two pitch. Runner holding. And Roark gets the call. Clint Fagan didn't do anything for an instant. Made a quick thought, made a quick call. 2 out, strikeout number 2.
Well, you look at this sequence, everything down in the zone for Roark. So right there, the first one in the inner half that was fast, and Jimenez disagrees, but it looked like a good pitch. You see the glove kind of go down with Wilson Ramos, so he might have thought it was low.
Number 8 man is their second baseman today. Switch hitter Luis Sardinas. Just 21 years of age, out of Venezuela. This time a year ago he was playing at Single-A Myrtle Beach.
Well, when you have a bunch of injuries, sometimes as an organization you have to rush guys. You don't have the luxury of letting them get seasoned at the minor league level. I was talking to Ron Washington about just that before the game today. He was saying that the difference in today's game between now and maybe 10 years ago is guys get rushed to the big leagues out of necessity.
Yeah.
So then you don't play all those minor league games where you learn all the little things about baseball. Now, guys that come up, they can hit 300, they can make the plays, but all the little things, the nuances, the stuff that makes them a baseball player, that's the stuff you learn down in the minor leagues. And in general in today's game, there's a lot of players that don't know the little things. Yeah. And we see it on a daily basis. And if you're lucky enough to let somebody stay in the minor leagues for 4 or 5 years, they learn how to play the game. There's good development, good coaches down there. It's a great experience.
And Roark missing with a fastball. I think he thought he had a strike on the previous pitch. This one obviously missed by a bunch, and he's behind 3-1. Pitcher is on deck. Although with a runner at first base as opposed to scoring position, you want to attack the number 8 hitter in National League Baseball and get him out. Don't want to walk this man. And a ball foul tip. Strike 2. Runner on the move here. LaRoche is backed up, and it's fouled straight back to the screen. It's going to be another long inning for Tanner Roark. 17 in the first inning, 10 strikes, and he's thrown 19 more here. Three-2 again. Not even close. And Yu Darvish will bat. He's had 6 big league ABs. That's only Roark's 17th walk in 64 innings this year. Yu Darvish is 1 for 6 as a major league hitter.
It's a good athlete.
You better throw strikes to him. Now here comes the unofficial captain of the infield, Ian Desmond. Just trying to give his guy a breather, relax him a little bit. So 2 pitches away from 40 with 2 outs in the second. Not Roark-like. Not the biggest zone either.
He's lost his release point with the fastball, and he's getting underneath it, getting a little bit behind it, and Steve McCatty going to come out and try to tune him up.
Yeah, and the worst thing you can do in this situation, FP, is start aiming the ball because you're facing the pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think he's aiming it. I just think his mechanics are out of whack out of the stretch all of a sudden. Steve McCatty will tighten him up. I mean, you can't go off speed to get your release point back because it slows you down and gets you out front. But you'd hate to speed up the bat of Yu Darvish here 2-0. So make an adjustment. Tanner Roark's good at those, and we shall see.
Two balls, no strikes. A base hit, a walk in the inning. Pitching coaches are geniuses.
Well, Tanner at times will get kind of rotational where he's spinning off to the first baseline. You remember down he had Atlanta early this year, and he's just trying to stay on line, keep that front shoulder in.
Counts back even. And a 2-2 with 2 outs. And a grounder out to Ian Desmond. Couple of crow hops and right on target to LaRoche. It'll be Desmond leading off the second. McLeod and Espinosa, no score.
Darvish today. Bob and FP mentioned the vast repertoire that Darvish brings to the table, 6 or 7 different pitches depending on how you choose to look at it. So I asked a couple Nationals hitters how they approach at-bats against a guy who brings so many different options at them. Most of them said that what they choose to do is look location. They'll pick a half of the plate and focus more on that as compared to what pitch is coming at them. Then they can kind of react based on that. Denard Span said he kind of shortens his stride and simplifies things and goes with more of a gap-to-gap approach. And I asked Ian Desmond what he does. He said a swing, just swing. That seems to be his approach against pretty much everyone. But it is different for guys when they're facing a pitcher who has 6 or 7 different options, uses the same arm angle and changes speeds as compared to just fastball, curveball, change, the normal type of repertoire the pitchers bring to the table.
Yeah, just ask the Red Sox. May 9th against Boston, an 8-0 win. And that Pete Darvish came close to a no-hitter, and there was a little controversy in that game as well.
Yeah, right here's the controversy. It was ruled an error at the time, so no-hitter intact. Then in the 9th inning, Big Papi comes up and slaps a single to right, beats the shift. They would later change that first hit, that first error, to a hit.
Yep. 8 2/3 that day he went.
But kind of building on what Dan said, as a hitter, you can't cover both sides of the plate. You can't cover all 8 or 9 pitches that Darvish has. So what do? You simplify it and cover a zone. If you start to get into a guessing match, this pitch is going to be away, I'm diving out there to get it, you might get lucky, but you're setting yourself up for failure over a 3 or 4 at-bat appearance against a guy. So keep it simple, look in a zone, and make the pitch be in that zone, whether it's a fastball, slider, curveball, cutter, split, or slow curve.
Is that all?
That's it.
Are you done?
And they're all nasty, too, by the way. It's not just like he has 46 pitches, and they're all average.
Here's Ian Desmond. Does Darvish always pitch off the stretch to start an inning? Must be feeling more comfortable. He's not towing the rubber. He's got his foot up against it.
Could have something to do with his neck.
That's got him off the stretch if he wasn't right from the get-go. So that's something, if he did it, we didn't notice in the first inning, because Span was on base immediately and he was off the stretch the rest of the frame. Desmond in the series 1 for 3 with a 3-run homer and a walk. That is right on the edge. 2 strikeouts in a row, and both very impressive.
I see where this one hits on pitch track. Oh, it's just a perfect pitch. Not a whole lot you can do as a hitter right there. That's just a big league hang with him. Paint.
There's Nate McLeod, who had a couple of hits Friday night. Had an 0 for yesterday, but still 2 for 8 in the series. and hitting .370 his last 11 games. He is 0 for 3 career against Darvish, the only Nat other than Lobaton and Span to face him.
I'm looking at his last start on video right now against Detroit, and he started the game out of the stretch. So, yeah, I haven't seen enough games where you, Darvish, and the Texas Rangers to know the difference.
Good take by McLeod to get the count in his favor. And that's up and away. That ball hammered. Look out, Tony Tarasco.
Well, that's a good sign for Nate McLeod. This is a fastball up. Nate's hit a lot of fly balls this year. Watch him get on top of some high cheese. Now, that's a good swing. Just caught it out front. So sometimes the smaller guys have trouble from the left side handling that pitch and getting on top. Not so much for McLeod right there. He's just too fast.
Full count now with 1 out. And Darvish is going to get him up in the zone with an off-speed pitch. 3 called strikeouts in a row.
But when you're facing guys like Darvish, you got to get that 3-1 pitch because you never know what's coming 3-2. And a little curveball right there. Tried to come back. Nowhere near as nasty as the one to Wilson Ramos to end the first. But it got the job done.
Now Denny Espinosa's task. Try to get aboard and turn over the lineup here. Wow. Danny can't believe that one.
Might have been up, might have been away.
Tanner Roark would like some of these on the Mercedes-Benz pitch track.
I will say this, having tried an open stance a few times, the fastball away can appear farther away than you think it is just by how you're starting your stance. Does help you see the baseball better. Yu Darvish doesn't like that one.
Umpire looks it over and tosses it out. No score, bottom of the second. 1-1 with 2 outs. And Espinosa late for 94 downstairs. It just has to be difficult to change your stance and change your approach during the season.
Well, that's not a big adjustment. I mean, you're just kind of going a little more open. I mean, if you totally revamp it.
Breaking ball, and Darvish struck out the side. 4 Ks in a row, and it's no score into the third.
John's is out of business. When the Nationals win, everyone wins all season long. When the Nats win and score 7 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu prices at papajohns.com by entering promo code NATS50. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Washington Nationals, and they are still open.
They'll have to do some work to have free pizza at half prices tomorrow. Here's that first inning play.
And this is where the fun began. Matt Williams comes out and challenges that the run didn't cross and that the tag was put on Alex Rios before Andrews crossed. Ron Washington challenged that Rios was safe at second base, so we had a double challenge on the same play. And they ruled that Rios was out and that the run did not cross home plate before Rios was out.
Yeah, so Clint Fagan wiping away the run. Triple style at home. And here we go to the top of the third inning, top of the order for the Rangers. They're still looking for that souvenir bunt down there.
If you're right on a challenge, you maintain your challenge. If you're wrong, you lose your challenge. But I feel like if both teams challenge at the same time and you win, you should take the other manager's challenge and have 2. Only on a double secret, super duper double secret challenge.
Ian Desmond throws out Daniel Robertson. Tanner Roark seeking some quick outs as he works his third inning of the day. Let's go back in history. Courtesy of VW, back in 05, Nats' first season here, they had lost to the Braves, went 23 of 28. They led the National League East on the 4th of July by 5.5 games. They went 50 and 31 in the first half and then just couldn't sustain it, going 31 and 50, the exact opposite in the second half to finish at 500.
And every DC baseball fan thought, this is going to be easy. All right.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
RFK was rocking in those early days, that first year when that team got so hot. They would play there for 2 more years before moving here in 08. There's Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. And a bouncing ball over the mound for a base hit first time. 1-1 pitch. That's not a bouncing ball. That is a clean line drive. And Andrus, after going 1 for 7, is now 3 for 9 in this series.
It's been impressive. Offense, defense, everything. Right back up the middle. Curveball, stayed back, let it travel. And right back where it came from. Line drive single.
And Roark's given up 4 hits now with a walk. Facing Alex Rios, who broke his bat and dumped a single into center field. First time up.
"13 steals, been caught 4 times.
5th most steals in the American League. Jose Altuve leads that league with 20. D. Gordon 34 in the National League, and Billy Hamilton has 20. I mean, D. Gordon's on base for 80 to 90 steals with the Dodgers.
Yeah. Well, the big change for D. Gordon this year is he's stealing first.
Tanner just can't get that fastball in the strike zone. 1-0 to Rios, who has 70 hits on the year. 4th most in the American League. Nats interleague record, by the way, has a chance to go over 500 today if they could beat the Rangers. They're 5-5. Texas 3-6 against the National League, and that's a power zone that kind of skews toward up and away. Pulls it hard. Rendon. Espinosa hangs in there and turns a 5-4-3 with Elvis Andrus all over him.
We talked about the value of Danny Espinosa from a defensive standpoint. Watch him avoid Andrus right here and turn the double play as good as you'll ever see. Good pick by LaRoche. Denard Span staying hot. Yu Darvish doing his thing, and Tanner Roark trying to get that fastball consistently down the zone, is battling and fighting just like we knew he would. But let's check out the inning double play, and Danny Espinosa avoiding contact. Watch him get air right here. Get enough on the throw to complete the double play. But the fact that he does this in traffic, to me, is very impressive. The throw kind of takes him into the runner, so he doesn't have the option of backing off the base like he usually does. But he gets some air and still turns it.
Yeah, Tanner Roark, love that. Saved him some pitches. He's at 49. He'll lead off here in the third against the suddenly very nasty Yu Darvish, who has struck out 4 batters in a row. There's been no contact since Worth popped up in the first.
So I was told by Mark McLemore that Yu Darvish has been going on the stretch since April of 2012. He felt like his windup mechanics were a little bit off. So since April of 2012 has been pitching exclusively out of the stretch, and I was on top of that one.
Well, we've never seen him in person. Nats haven't seen the Rangers since 08. And that would be 5 strikeouts in a row.
Well, the good ones you got to get early, and the Nats had a chance in the first inning. We'll see if second time around proves a little bit better.
Denard Span early in the count. Hard double. Lined over the head of Alex Rios in right field. Bounced into the bullpen. He made it to third on a Rendon grounder, but not able to score.
Look out, Cotton Candy Man. In 2 starts against Oakland this year, Darvish has given up 7 runs. One was a no decision, one was a loss. He lasted just 3 1/3. Gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. So the A's have Yu Darvish figured out. But seeing his secondary stuff and his put-away stuff today, I'm sure word is spreading the first base dugout. Hack, get this guy early because his curveball and slider are dirty.
Target away. Gets the call on the corner. He has been pinpoint. Away from some of the left-handed batters. Let's see what the Nissan pitch track thinks.
Well, I think that Clint Fagan likes this pitch a lot. I mean, he's called it all day. Called one to LaRoche. He called one to McLeod. I think Espinosa, and now Span.
Tough battle here, 0-2. Darvish career in the big leagues, 33-20, 70 starts. We're looking over his numbers with the Hokkaido Ball Club in Japan for all those years, and his best year was 11 before he came over here. 18-6 with a 1.44 ERA. And if you're wondering about the duration of their season, it's slightly shorter than the big league season. He made 28 starts, and Span is the one guy who has his number. 5 out of 6 career, 2 for 2 today.
2 for 2 and 2 bullets. Well, no stride approach. He sat on the curveball right here, at least reacted to the curveball very nicely. Now, Masson Dan saying earlier, Denard Span's approach is no stride, spread out. Look at that, no stride at all, just playing pepper. Good low ball hitter, right into his zone. Slaps it into right field, and see if he can figure out a way to get around those bases.
Well, Rendon hit the ball hard first time up. Donnie Murphy was playing way off the bag because Span was on second. In fact, he hit the ball so hard, Murphy thought about throwing to third for Span. Took the out at first. So Anthony Rendon in this series, 6 for 11. Span, meanwhile, also 6 for 11. And on base 7 times. Span and Rendon in this series have combined to score 7 runs. Low and away. Ball 2.
And Darvish speeding up his delivery right there with Span out first.
Donnie Murphy holding Denard Span, who is 7 for 8 stealing, was caught for the first time yesterday in the first inning prior to the Rendon home run. He's running. Rendon hits one to right center. Over to get it, Martin. And Span will have to hustle back on a long throw by the center fielder. A strong throw.
He didn't retouch second. He got to retouch second. He didn't do it. He's going to be out.
Donnie Murphy is pointing over there.
No, he ran right over the bag. And they're not calling it.
And the umpire says he did retouch. And now Ron Washington, who's out of challenges, right? All he can do is argue.
All he can do is argue right here. From way up here, I saw Denard step over the bag. We'll see what it looks like and what we have. So once you cross, you got to step back on the base, and he didn't. He crossed the base, and you're supposed to retouch the base going back to first base, or you're out. And I don't think he touched it on the way there, and he definitely didn't touch it on the way back. And
oh boy.
I guess the question is, if you don't touch it on the way there, do you have to touch it on the way back? And the answer probably is no.
And if the umpires feel they need to take a look at that, they still can. Although Washington officially out of challenges. So here's Worth, who popped up to short first time.
So what's the purpose of a challenge? I'm confused.
Well,
I don't have
if you challenge, they have to look at it. Span running again. And this time he's there. Ball out of the glove of Sardinas. And Denard Span has his 8th of the year. You better take every 90 feet you can get when you're facing Yu Darvish.
Well, Denard Span, when his bat heats up, the stolen bases numbers start to come. A, because he's on base more, and B, because he's starting to get into a rhythm on base. When you're not hitting, you're never on base. You feel like you're fish out of water when you are on base. But when you're getting on every day, you're getting into grooves, you're getting into rhythms with your stolen base tempo as well.
Dan Worth took a shot on 0-1. He's in a deep hole now. No score. Nationals have been out hit by the Rangers 4-2. Runner at second, 2 outs, bottom of the 3rd.
I thought Yu Darvish was throwing that to second base. Trying to keep Span close. He looked at him. His motion started towards second, then he threw it home.
Now a step off. Sardinas hanging around the bag.
Darvish doesn't like what's going on behind him. Keeps looking back at Span, looking at his catcher, looking back at Span, looking at his catcher, and finally Chris Jimenez comes out. Maybe they change the sequence. Maybe they go to a sign. How many times have we seen that this year?
Yeah. Here's what we're throwing next. I'll see you then.
Well, just lets the pitcher relax and be confident about the pitch that's coming. Yeah, no sign.
Span running, and Worth had to swing with 2 strikes close enough. That's an Denard Span on a ball that was not a strike, would have easily stolen third.
Well, in 2-strike count, you're battling up there against Yu Darvish to put it in play. So it's not like you can wait around and take a pitch if you think it's borderline. You got to battle. You're fighting to drive him in if you're Jason Worth.
And a 1-2, strikes out Worth. Yu Darvish, 9 outs, 6 of them on strikes. To the middle innings we go. Rangers, Nats, scoreless. part of our DynCorp International Troop recognition here at Nationals Park. And it's brought to you by DynCorp International. We serve today for a better tomorrow. Good day for a ball cap. Sunny skies, 74 degrees. Delightful at game time. It's been a great weekend for the Nats at the turnstiles and on the field. Although nobody uses turnstiles anymore. Get your tickets beeped on the way in. And we're going to have probably close to 100,000. Maybe over that total for this 3-game series. Here's Beltre, who Roark struck out ending the first inning. Well, actually, the last batter retired in the first inning before everything started happening on the bases with Donnie Murphy at the plate. So Beltre in this series, 3 for 8. And other than down and in and a little bit down and away, fill in the whole box with red as the danger zone for a pitcher.
It's a level 5 thunderstorm. Phew. Perfect pitch.
Mercedes will have a look.
He's been good to the glove side down low with the fastball, and once again darts the outer half at the bottom of the zone.
Beltre took a home run swipe. He's hit 222 in his career. 30 for the Rangers last year, 36 before that, and 32 in 2011.
Now, Ron Washington telling me before the game that Adrian Beltre can't even turn his head to the side. So what he's thought about doing this whole series is just taking the ball to right field. His neck is that tight to where, you know, you've had that before where you can't turn your head. He's still playing through it.
Yeah, Rangers are banged up, and some of the guys not on the DL having to suck it up as well. This will play for Nate McLouth.
This Thursday, June 5th, the Nats take on the Phillies at 4:05. The Plain White Tees kick off the Nats Live free postgame concert series. That's presented by the Travel Channel. So call 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com/Nats Live for more details. Did you know that song was written about Delilah DiCrescenzo? She was a track star at Columbia in 2002. The lead singer from the Plain White Tees met her, was infatuated with her, but she had a boyfriend. They ended up finally hanging out all together. He says, I'm going to write a song about you, and that's Hey There, Delilah.
How about that? And then the other famous songs, the Rhythm of, the Something of Love, the
Rhythm of Love?
The Rhythm of Love, yeah. Maybe that was the follow-up song.
Yeah, I think they always were just friends. and I'm showing you air quotes right now.
Out to short, tough play. Desmond had to go backhand. That was really good. On the charge to his right, backhand side, and a very strong throw.
Well, that's just the play that Ron Washington was talking about me today with, about the backhand play and how when you're going to the backhand, if you just sweep your glove toward home plate, the ball automatically sticks in it. And right there, Ian Desmond kind of goes back toward home plate just because of the momentum. But for all you young kids out there, if you just take your backhand and you leave it there, you have a tendency to get jittery with the glove. When you go to the backhand side, once you're set, you kind of sweep the glove back toward where the ball came from, and the ball will automatically stick. It's not a crazy swipe like you see some first basemen do on picks.
Right.
Similar, but not as violent. He taught me that at the end of my career playing second base. I did it that whole year, and it works.
One ball and 2 strikes. Roark getting ready to deliver very quickly, and Leonis Martin able to step out and get time from Clint Fagan. 1-2 pitch. Big time hook in the dirt, and Tanner Roark now. A couple of quick innings. LaRoche, Ramos, and Desmond. 4, 5, 6 straight ahead. President's race. I think Bill is still staggered by that. Look at the guy coming from last. What is tall Tom Jefferson wearing on his feet? He's got the track shoes in his hands, and evidently silver slippers carrying him to a win. It's been a big week for Monticello.
Throwing his shoes up in the stands.
Wow.
Is everybody in the bullpen? I'm checking right now if everybody's in the bullpen.
Our bullpen?
Those are very athletic calves. I'm just saying. Oh, wear it, buddy. That's what I'm talking about.
There's an athlete for you.
That
right
is
there.
eating to win.
Yeah.
You did not finish second.
That's a future catcher. We're going to the bottom of the fourth. LaRoche walked first time up. That is the best cotton candy face of the history of this ballpark. LaRoche on base in this series 5 times. Three for 8, homer, 3 RBIs, 2 walks. He's had a big week since coming off the DL, and there's no coincidence that his return has sparked this offense. Oh my.
59 miles an hour, and are you kidding me?
Not only the kitchen sink, part of the plumbing just arrived. Strikeout number 7.
I think Adam LaRoche thought it was outside, but regardless, 59 miles an hour.
Yeah, it was outside.
The slow curve I was told was 69. This one 59, and look at it just lock up Adam LaRoche as it would lock up a lot of hitters. I mean, that's almost unhittable.
Ramos caught looking on a nasty breaking ball first time.
Somewhere Adam's dad loves that pitch, even though his son struck out. The lob.
And somewhere Levon Hernandez is trying to smile, but probably can't.
He's in the
because it was one of our guys.
I think he's in the clubhouse.
And he's got 92 to throw by the Nats catcher. Yu Darvish came in 7th in the American League with 71 strikeouts in 61 innings. 4th in ERA, 5th in opponent's batting average at only .215. Right-handers hitting 193 against him this year.
Oh boy. This little 95 with some cut on it late.
And if you get a runner in scoring position, MLB betting 157 against him. That number's gone down a bit today.
Well, it's just not a fun day to hit if you're facing Yu Darvish. It's that simple. He's got everything going.
Ramos rims one up the middle. And the Nats have their 3rd base hit. And in this series, Wilson Ramos is 3 for 5.
Well, there's the opposite field approach I was talking about first time up. Wilson Ramos doing a nice job. 93-mile-an-hour fastball. It was on the inner half. Watch where the location is. It's inside. Gets the bat in and takes it the other way. Watch the hands. Stay close to the body. Barrel to the baseball. Textbook swing.
Ian Desmond called out on a fastball that just took apart the outside corner first time. There it is again. Although his fastball speed 91 to 96.
Now, getting back to Dan's report about picking the side of the plate against a guy like this, I think that applies on normal days. But when you have a guy that's an upper echelon pitcher with the stuff that Darvish has today, I think you just got to guess right. And hope you're right. Meaning, I'm looking for a fastball right here, and if it's anywhere close, I'm swinging. And the reason you don't go to a quadrant or pick a side of the plate, he's too good right now shaving corners. Even if you do get the side you're looking for, it's borderline. I mean, that's 96, and it almost caught the front corner of the plate. I guess my point is, if you're looking out there, what are you going to do with that pitch? Not a whole lot.
Everything away to Desmond here, similar to the 2nd inning. 1 on, 1 out, scoreless ball game, bottom 4. Hmm. 81 with a little hang to it. Things were a little quiet Friday night. Nats were down until Ian Desmond erupted in the 4th inning.
Yeah, fastball, bell tie, up and in. Got the hands inside and rode it out to the part of the ballpark where it travels best. He's happy. Everybody was happy in the first base dugout. And things start to turn around for the Nats. You might circle that at bat.
Yeah. Desmond did swing. He's gone. 8 Ks for Darvish. He's gone 8 2/3, 8 and 7 in his last 3 starts. But as FP noted, it's been a week and a half since he last pitched. And Nate McLeod goes up and slams one out to right center. Martin, short of the track, has it. The Nationals gone in the 4th. Roark and Darvish matching up in a scoreless duel through 4.
duel. Yu Darvish doing his thing, and Tanner Roark going toe for toe with the big guy. And it looked like he was up against it in the first inning. Adrian Beltre struck out. But he's done a nice job of pounding the strike zone, getting ground balls when he has to, and doing what Tanner Roark does, just keeping his ball club in the game regardless of who he's pitching against. And right now, this is one of the better pitching performances I've seen this year from Yu Darvish. I mean, the stuff is electric, but the command is even more impressive. He's throwing 95, 96 to a spot. The curveball for a strike at any time. The slider is his out pitch. And we saw the 59-mile-an-hour curveball that struck out Alan LaRoche. He's been doing it all.
Only thing under 59 is his pitch count. 58 pitches, 40 strikes. And every time a Nat strikes out an opposing hitter, Roark has 3 today. $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH. Thanks to our DC area Toyota dealers, helping children and their families. Jimenez, Sardinas, and Darvish. Top of the 5th. Struck out looking first time for the second out. Back in the second inning. And Roark with a good off-speed pitch. That curveball had him reaching.
All right, folks, time for you to tweet your photo right now. Using hashtag #MASSonFanPhotos for a chance to have it shown in a future broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. You send us your photo, we'll tell you your name and where you're from. And we won't be even close.
Breaking ball, well played by Rendon. Made sure the whole body was behind that one. Day off tomorrow. Then our friends from Philadelphia are in town Tuesday night. Jordan Zimmerman, David Buchanan. Night game Wednesday. Strasburg, A.J. Burnett. And a 4:05 getaway day game on Thursday. Doug Fister and Kyle Kendrick. That's just missed Cole Hamels and Bartolo Colon, who pitch in that series against the Mets this weekend. Desmond on the move in a hurry, and he gets the speedy Luis Sardinas, 2 outs. And now 8 ground ball outs for Tanner Roark, including 3 of the last 4.
Right, he's getting into a groove.
And 5 of the last 7, including that double play ball that really kind of settled down his day after that 1-out hit by Andrews back in the 3rd. So here's Yu Darvish. Tanner struggling with command at that time. As FP noted, release point went 2-0 on him, and then struck him out to end the second inning with 2 men on.
Well, give Steve McCatty a lot of credit in this ball game. After his trip to the mound, Tanner Roark has kind of righted the ship, been down with the fastball, and like I said, going toe-to-toe with Yu Darvish,
who hits it pretty well down the left field line. Nathan McLeod cruising over to it. He has it. And that is an 8-pitch inning for Tanner Roark. He's cruising. He'll bat after Espinosa. Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals.
Still no score as we head to the bottom of the fifth inning. Take home a piece of the game with Nationals Authentics. Game used Digi-Camo jerseys and hats from the Memorial Day game will be available for auction. See the full selection of items and bid right now at nationals.com/auction. This ends tonight at 8 o'clock.
Perfect baseball day in D.C. Nats trying to get over 500. Trying to sweep this series against the Texas Rangers. It'll be Espinosa, Roark, and Span against Yu Darvish, who's been brilliant. 58 pitches in 4 innings, 40 strikes. And that's a pretty good pitch count, FP, for somebody who has struck out 8 batters.
I mean, he's been dominant so far. And, you talk about how are the Nats going to win this baseball game? Well, first of all, those guys are going to put on a rally hat late. But you just tread water. Try to get into the Rangers bullpen. Not that the Rangers bullpen is bad by any means, but it's just not Yu Darvish. So if you can keep this a scoreless game, make it a bullpen match, you think Matt Williams would like his chances in that battle. So just keep treading water.
Espinosa struck out swinging first time.
Or run into one. I mean, you could still get him. It's not like he's not human, but today so far, I mean, like I said, very impressive.
Beltre shallow at third. Espinosa's been known to bunt his way aboard. He rips this one, and it's a couple feet foul. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking about in this inning. The guy that's 2 spots away. Get somebody on base for Denard Span. The way he's swinging the bat and the way he has against Darvish in his career. This could be the inning. But you got to get somebody on ahead of that hot swinging leadoff man. '86
change up.
0-2. Doubled up on it, and Danny Espinosa still alive in this series, 1 for 8. Danny, though, 1 for his last 21. And the off speed, the breaking ball gets him. 9 strikeouts for Yu Darvish. Well, hopefully the news is getting a little better. So, Dan, instead of injury updates, how about some rehab updates?
Let's do it, Bob. We'll start with Ryan Zimmerman, who is 1 for 3 today with the Potomac Nationals. Back in left field. He played 5 innings in left yesterday. Only got 1 ball hit his way. It was a ball to the gap that he tracked down, threw back into the infield. So he's back at left field today, getting more work there. Gio Gonzalez threw a simulated game today on the field earlier, and it was scheduled to be about 50 pitches. Assuming he comes out of that okay, the plan is for him 5 days from now to go on a rehab start, and then if that goes well, it could be back in the rotation 10 days from now.
Well, that would be great. Zimmerman back, coming soon. Gio. All we want to see is how good this team can be when everybody's together. It's only been that way for 7 innings all year.
We said at the top of the show today, the Nats are 27-27, same record they had this time last year. They're 2.5 games back right now. They were 5.5 back at this point a year ago. And everybody around town and in baseball thought the Nats had a disappointing season last year. 10 games over. 10 games over may just win the National League East this year.
Well, they set the bar pretty high the year before that, and you can understand why people would feel that way. But There is nothing wrong with winning, what, 86 games?
Yeah, there's what we showed you in the Open today.
So to get to 86, they'd have to win 61 of their last 108. Doable. Jeep showing us what's happening through the first third of the season.
As a player, though, you're just worried about winning one game on that day.
Yeah, and boiled down even further, your next at bat, your next play. Span will sky this one to left for Daniel Robertson, and Yu Darvish continues to dominate. His season high in strikeouts is 12. He's had 11, and today he has 10. Slugfest, a couple of blowout wins, and now today a nothing ball game. And really, it's advantage Nats because Tanner Roark is matching up with the best guy in their rotation now, just about pitch for pitch.
Yeah, it's been a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel. We kind of thought it would be like this with Yu Darvish on the mound, but Tanner Roark is a guy that's going to give you whatever he has every fifth day, and he's done a nice job trying to continue that here. And like I said, just hang around. You've seen the Nats do that all season, and hopefully get to somebody's bullpen, and you would think that's how they're going to win this game today here.
Yeah, Darvish nearing a season high in strikeouts. He's into double figures already. So here's Tanner going back to work. He's had a couple of quick innings. So refreshed is his day. After a couple of long frames to get this thing going, leadoff man Daniel Robertson leads off. 0 for 2, pair of ground balls. And the heater's in there. By the way, the second time around the order, Roark, thanks to the double play in the third, faced only 9 batters in those 3 innings, 3, 4, and 5. Bouncing ball right side, long way to go. Espinosa slides, throws, and gets in. Danny Espinosa, as much range as any middle infielder in baseball.
What a play. 0-0 game, you gotta make plays like this. Keep your ball club in the game, and Danny Espinosa throwing some serious leather at the Rangers. Look how far he goes for this slide, gets to his feet quick. And we all know about the plus arm from Espinosa, but that is a slick play by the Nats second baseman. Nicely done. Look how far he goes, and give Adam LaRoche credit for not going for this baseball and going to the bag. Knowing that his second baseman has that kind of range where he can just retreat, get to the bag, and pick up the throw.
It's a big play with Andrews and Rios coming up. Still got him by a step. Roark starting to get that fastball where he wants it, under the hands of the right-handed hitter. Goes in there again. Too much off the plate. 2-1. That's a high chopper. Rendon's going to have to gun it. He will, and he gets him. Hit it to any of these guys, you're liable to see a fantastic play.
Wow, some leather on display. Anthony Rendon yesterday with one of the best plays you'll ever see a third baseman make, going to the line on a topspin chopper, and then today gets the traditional chopper, gets rid of it over the top, and a cannon right on the money. Watch the arm angle over the top, so that ball stays straight for LaRoche. He gets a little more on it and barely gets him. Wow.
Next up, Alex Rios.
Throw strikes, work quick. Guys make plays behind you all the time.
That's a base hit.
Yeah, the crowd with a big groan right there.
They thought Ian Desmond was going to get it and throw him out.
They're expecting everybody to make every play.
Well hit by Rios. He's 2 for 3 today. His first hits of this series. And that gets Adrian Beltre to the plate in the top of the 6th. Rangers box 2 hits in the first, but a runner out at second. And a runner not scoring in time at home to end that inning. They've had a couple of hits since then, but the double play ball was huge back in the 3rd off the bat of Alex Rios.
Got to keep Rios close. He's got to steal here.
And a long pause plus a step off. Tanner Roark representing himself well, pitching against the ball club that drafted him. In the 25th round back in 08 out of the University of Illinois.
This is where the strategy between pitcher, base runner, bench coach Randy Knorr, catcher all comes into play this late in the game. You might think about pitching out somewhere in this sequence.
Runner on the move. Pitch high. The throw right there. But Danny Espinosa dropped it. It's a tough tag when that ball comes bouncing in. That's number 11 for Rios.
Well, I like the fact that Alex Rios stole the base early in the count. That gives Adrian Beltre the whole at-bat to drive him in. Far too often do you see guys with 2 outs wait till 2 strikes. And that may be too late. It's only given the hitter 1 pitch. You see the short hop almost got Tanner Roark. And Espinosa behind the bag. The ball hits Rios, and he would have beat it either way.
Beltre 0 for 2. May not be a bad time to go Greg Maddux thinking here, FP. Knowing first base is open, who's in the batter's box, and who's on deck.
Well, you can go with an 0-2 approach right here if you're Tanner Roark, even though the count's 1-1, meaning every pitch you throw is your best 0-2 pitch.
It's exactly what Maddux used to do. He'd look over in the on-deck circle, decide who he might want to have more to do with. And if he lost this guy, it was no big deal, because this is the guy who can really hurt.
Well, he's an everyday guy, and Donnie Murphy, who has a base hit already, isn't.
Target away. And the breaking ball outside, 3-1.
Yeah, you can bounce a curveball right here.
Just nothing in that hot zone. Had him reaching up the middle. Espinosa there. Guns it. And the inning is over. So Roark made Adrian Beltre hit his pitch. Freight, Railworks, and the do-up. It's the leadoff man in the top of the 6th inning. Anthony Rendon, 6 hits, a homer, 4 runs scored in this series so far. Well, quite a ball game here. Bottom of the 6th. 2-3-4 for the Nationals. Rendon, Worth, and LaRoche on a brilliant day in D.C. Anthony, ground ball to first, fly ball to center. And he goes deep to center with this drive. It'll push Martin back. 1 out.
Ball was smoked. All right, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in the game. It's brought to you by Miller Lite.
Next up, Jason Worth 0 for 2, then LaRoche 0 for 1 with a walk. Jimenez held it there for a while. Thought he had a strike low in the zone. Clint Fagan said ball 1.
I think you're getting a 1-0 fastball. You get a 1-0 curve.
And a big hook at that. Worth pulls it to the hole. It is through for a base hit. And for Jason Worth, his 5th hit of the series, and he went about a third of the way to second base, rounding the bag the way you're supposed to.
Well, he knows he has to get in scoring position, and he almost took advantage of Daniel Robertson right here, and the fact that Robertson was playing so deep and the ball just kind of chops through the hole. Worth with a huge turnaround first base, and he was thinking about it. Right there, he puts on the brakes, has to scramble back. And let's see if he decides to steal.
Nats 1 for 1 today with Span swiping his 8th. Jason Worth, another one of those guys with a great percentage, 3 for 3. The Nats are 27 for 32 this year. Big shift is on for LaRoche. But Beltre stays home in the shortstop hole. LaRoche will drop one into left center, maybe. Yes, he will. And a great read by Worth as he goes to third. The base hit was good. The read by the runner was even better.
Such a good base runner. He gets a pat on the helmet from Adrian Beltre as he gets to third base, but Jason Worth gets right to about 3 steps in front of second base, realizes this ball is going to drop, and just puts his head down and goes all the way to third. So one of the better base runners in the National League in a 0-0 ball game in the bottom of the 6th makes a huge play. A lot of guys don't have the confidence to make a mistake right there. And to be a good base runner, you can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to get thrown out, and Jason Worth never has been. He's fearless on the bases. He reads that Andrus can't get to it, and now the stage is set for the Buffalo.
Ramos base hit right center last time. 1 for 2 today. 3 for 5 with an RBI and a walk in the series. And he was up hacking. Got a pitch to work with. So the Nats box. This is the first time today hits put together in an inning. They had runners put together back in the first. Span a double, LaRoche a walk. Since then, just 2 singles, Span and Ramos. And here's a game situation in the 6th inning.
And Yu Darvish, who is going to try to find a strikeout any way he can right now. Wilson Ramos trying to put the ball in play. And you get the feeling that whoever scores first wins this one.
Well, whenever the Nats can take a lead this stage of a ball game, that bullpen comes into play. 1-1 to Ramos. He got jammed and fouled it. Hits even at 5. 0-5-0 Rangers. 0-5-1 Nats, trying to sweep this series. And Ramos strikes out on a breaking ball down and away. Strikeout number 11, his second highest total of the year. It's up to Desmond with 2 outs.
And a huge strikeout for Darvish. He goes with a slider down the way to Ramos. You see the late break. Ramos thinking he can reach it, just runs out of bat. Exactly what Darvish, Ron Washington, the Texas Rangers needed in that situation. Now Ian Desmond going to try to pick up his ball club.
His previous high of 11, the game after the near no-hitter when he struck out 12. He has struck out Desmond looking in the second, swinging in the fourth. Ian's been the primary RBI guy on this club for the last 2 weeks. That one at 95 on the board here. Don't need much of anything else when there's so much swinging and missing going on. And he's still under 80 pitches.
Well, we always talk about when so-and-so has all 4 pitches working and they're throwing them for strikes. Well, so-and-so's Darvish today, and he has all 8 pitches working, and he's throwing them for strikes. There is not an easy at-bat for anybody today. Hitting's hard enough as it is, but when you're facing a guy that's got this going on.
Crowd making some noise here on a 1-1 count.
The days you get frustrated as a hitter is when you're facing a guy that's got a 5 or a 6 earning and you're doing this against him. Darvish is one of the elites, and he's at the top of his game today here in Washington.
Outfield around to the right for Desmond. Infield pretty much straight up. Now a battle. It's 1-2. LaRoche running on a 1-2 pitch with 2 outs.
Every time he steals, it's a foul ball. We've joked about that for 2 years now. He goes with the ambush sneak attack steal. And
yeah, he's 0 for 0 this year, and he should be about 5 for 5.
I'll give you an idea how the quad's feeling, but he won't try it again.
Darvish, a long look at LaRoche now. And a 1-2 to Desmond. Ian in the air to right center. At the track, Rios fighting the sun right in front of the scoreboard.
That close.
Ian Desmond almost hit one off the board in right center. Still scoreless. Wild Wings. Give the gift everyone loves, a Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. The perfect gift for dads and grads. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Now you know how we see things from way up here.
Got a good view.
Can you circle us?
Oh yeah, we're up here. You just can't see us.
We're hovering. Interesting. Scoreless ball game here. We're going to the 7th. Tanner Roark, 86th pitch. We weren't sure he'd be around this long after he had 49 in the first 3 innings. 42 in the first 2. And a bouncing ball will get through. Donnie Murphy 2 for 3. And against Tanner Roark career, Murphy 3 for 4. Inside the numbers with Jeep. First time all year the Nats have played a ball game when both teams haven't scored through 6. Last time that happened, July 2nd of last year against the Brewers. Levens the lefty, Storing the right-hander. There's Leonis Martin.
Got to be bunting, right?
Could be bunting. He's got good speed. Murphy can move it at first.
Ron Washington big on the sacrifice bunt. He's the kind of manager who'll do whatever it takes to win a ball game on that day. Doesn't have really one philosophy. It's just whatever he needs to win on that day.
On the move, the runner. That's a good throw. And that's a runner out at second base. And Wilson Ramos continues to throw really well. That's his 6th runner caught stealing this year.
Big gamble by Ron Washington right there. He goes hit and run baseball. You see Murphy looking in all the way. He's expecting Martin to put the ball in play. And once Martin swings through that, Wilson Ramos with a perfect throw and a thank you very much first out. And look at this.
And a ball gashed into right. It's in the bullpen. And the Rangers lead on a Leonis Martin homer, his 3rd of the year. And that's his 11th big league home run.
Well, that more than makes up for the missed hit and run. Wow.
Isn't that something?
Did not see that coming.
Tanner Roark gives up his 7th home run of the year.
A changeup, 82 up, out over the middle, speeds up Martin, and he puts it in the bullpen.
Chris Jimenez next, the catcher. Roark due to bat 3rd, bottom 7. This will be it for him. Now he wants to get these last 2 outs. To short, Ian Desmond. Yesterday, Span was caught stealing, and Rendon homered right after that. Seems like it's always guaranteed the next guy is going to get some kind of hit after you lose a base runner. 2 outs now in the inning. Luis Sardinas, the number 8 man. And I hope this ballpark, if Roark gets an out here, comes off giving 1 run up in 7 innings, he should be greeted very well.
Oh, what a game.
Now it's up to his teammates to get him off the hook. You'll take this anytime from any guy on your staff. 1-1. Sardinas has walked and bounced out to Desmond. That's a strike. By the way, that ground ball a moment ago, Tanner Roark's 12th ground ball out of the day. Out of 17 outs total. And a 2-2. Pretty good rip.
I mean, he's just such an old school throwback pitcher for me. He's a guy that every fifth day just goes out there and competes. In, back to the old thing where if, you score me 4, I'm giving up 3. He just wants to win. I mean, he's gone toe to toe with Darvish today. Just a fantastic outing, trying to finish it right here. He competes. Not just the word, he really does it. He sticks his face in there every fifth day, no matter what he has.
And there's no way he had his best stuff at the start of this game. That was quite a battle, those first 2-3 innings.
Whatever stuff he has on a given day, that's his best stuff.
He will walk Sardinas. He'll face Darvish here. That'll be Roark's second walk of the day. It's been the number 8 man twice. About to throw his 100th pitch. Most he's thrown this year, 105. Back-to-back starts against the Angels and the Padres on that homestand back in April. Darvish showed bunt and got everybody on the left side moving.
Yeah, he's getting tired now.
And he throws the breaking ball up in the zone. Darvish late, 1-2.
I'm just trying to make one more pitch.
And there it is.
What an outing.
Tanner Roark coming off the mound. Some fans are standing and giving him a good cheer. What a day. 1 run in 7 innings. They'll hit for him in the bottom of this inning after the stretch. Loose and throwing his first pitch of the game against the Phillies. 3-2. Last year, or at least last 6 starts against the Phils. He's beaten them 4 out of 6 times. David Buchanan, a 1-1, 3.86 record for the rookie for the Phils. We get you going at 6:30. Nats Extra on Masson. First to 3 with Philadelphia. 1-0 ball game. McLeod, Espinosa, and Roark in the bottom of the 7th inning. Bring your group to Nationals Park. Company outings, family reunions, more special events. The more you bring, the more fun you have. Tickets start at just $9 a piece for groups of 25 or more. Call 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com/groups to check it out. 104 pitches, 67 strikes for Tanner Roark. And a crowd of 32,813.
Just a great outing by Tanner again today. Last time out, he was a tough luck loss victim. Pitched well against the Marlins. Just one guy got him. Giancarlo Stanton hit Derek Dietrich with a pitch with 2 outs. Stanton went deep, and that was the difference in the game today. A solo home run, but he's up against Yu Darvish, who has been unbelievable up to this point.
The Nats and the Rangers draw 99,634 for this weekend series, an average of 33,211. So well done at the gate. Now the Nats need to rally and sweep this series. Darvish at 81 pitches, 58 strikes through 6. You would figure Greg Dobbs in the 9th spot, the one left-handed batter on the bench that you would use in this situation. Franz and Hairston more off on the right side.
If Nate McLeod's thinking about a bunt right here, it would be with him toward first base. Adrian Beltre as good as it gets at third, and we already talked about how Donnie Murphy is playing his first game ever at first base. Might not be a bad idea.
Ball 1. Nate has struck out looking, flied to center. Nobody in the bottom 4 in the lineup have been on base today. Darvish has just taken everybody after Ramos and carved him up. Except for Desmond, that long fly ball last inning. And McLeod will pop it up. Hope it gets out of play. This will be close. And Beltre now has plenty of room as it comes twisting back. Espinosa next. For the achiever in you, PNC Bank, with our minor league report. And we check in on Brandon Laird out of Cypress College, by the Yankees, drafted in the 27th round way back in 07, and now doing a good job for the Nats at AAA. 20 runs, 24 RBIs in 50 games, and slugging. 26 years of age, has been around for a while. Younger brother of Gerald Laird, the longtime big league backup catcher. Ryan Zimmerman, by the way, as we update you on other so-called minor leaguers, 2 for 4 with an RBI today.
He's ready. Call him up.
Danny Espinosa, pair of strikeouts. Greg Dobbs on deck.
Nice to see Ryan against the Phillies on Tuesday, maybe? What do you think?
He's always liked that Philadelphia pitching. He's hit a couple of cheesesteaks against them. That ball popped up to the left side. Beltre again.
Deja vu all over again.
And now Greg Dobbs. Well, Greg Dobbs has never faced Yu Darvish.
And Mike Maddox going to come out for a little mini scouting report on Greg Dobbs.
Would part of that be don't throw a first pitch fastball?
Not necessarily. As long as you locate it. But, you know, you go over the starting lineup in the meeting. Sometimes you don't have time for the extras, and that's just a quick, this is what you should do to this guy meeting. Mike, a former teammate of mine in Montreal and Los Angeles. It was good to catch up with him today. Does a great job as the Rangers pitching coach. As good as there is in baseball.
So Tanner Roark, 7 innings, 7 hits, a run, 2 walks, 4 Ks, double play ball, a home run. And as mentioned, 104 pitches, 67 strikes. Greg Dobbs with the Nats, 1 for 4 as a pinch hitter, 2 for 17 overall. Ball 2. He's also one of those rare guys who can get you pinch hits, but also would go deep occasionally. He has 10 pinch hit home runs. Scott Hairston got his 13th earlier this weekend.
Well, I know Mike Maddox didn't tell him to go 3-0 to Dobbs.
Now with Span on deck, who's been his major thorn. And Yu Darvish walks Greg Dobbs on 4 pitches. His second walk of the day. LaRoche back in the first, the other, and Span's 2 for 3.
Well, that's how he started the party up today. First at bat, leading it off, double down the right field line. Over the head of Alex Rios. So a little carry on that one. Second at bat. Line drive to right, and he would go on to steal second base. Here it is. Good jump, swiped it easily. Third at bat, high fly ball to left field, and here we go.
Mercedes-Benz still strike 1.
Little cutter, 87 miles an hour, bottom of the zone. If you're Greg Dobbs at first base, you're looking for a curveball in the dirt. Any way to advance to second besides a steal.
And what a scramble and what a pick by Jimenez.
Yeah,
he just kept the tying run from going to second base.
Exactly. To a backhand slider in the dirt, 89 miles an hour. Might have been a cut fastball, but look at the backhand pick. Almost hit Denard in the back foot.
Span's batting average, by the way, up to 275.
Yeah, throw over.
Season high. One nothing Rangers. Bottom of the 7th. Span on a busted bat. Called by Beltre. He'll catch all 3 fly balls. That was interesting, approaching the mound in the 7th inning. The Nats have stranded 7 today. It's on to the 8th. Still frustrated by Yu Darvish.
Martin after missing a hit and run. And Donnie Murphy getting thrown out. He takes the very next pitch and hits it in the Nats bullpen and makes this a 1-0 game. Third home run of the year for Martin.
1-0 ball game into the 8th. By the way, Atlanta swept Miami. Came from behind today, beat them 4-2. And if the Marlins had any ideas of taking over first place for the weekend, those were dashed big time by the Braves. So here's Drew Storen, who's been just great. 23rd game, 0.95 ERA, 2 runs, 9 hits in 19 innings, with 19 Ks and not very hittable at all. 138. The opponent's batting average.
Equally tough against lefties and righties, and that might be due to the changeup that he's used this year frequently against left-handers.
Here they are, the guys under a run per game out of bullpens, and the Nats 3 of the top 7. Daniel Robinson facing Storen for the first time. He's 0 for 3, 3 ground balls today. Tanner Roark had 12 ground ball outs in his game. And the fastball just missing. 1-1. There's a beautiful slider. He doubled up on that. That's a foul ball.
Or is it?
Storen's going to let it roll in case it would hit that outside lip of grass and maybe come back.
The Potomac Nationals are your summer home for future stars of the Washington Nationals. There are plenty of promotions at the Fitz, including fireworks night, bobbleheads each month, kids eat free Sundays, and Dollar Mondays. Go to pnats.com or call the number on your screen.
One and 2 to Robertson.
And with a slider, probably down. You look at Wilson Ramos's glove kind of go towards the dirt. Tough to get a call when pitcher's glove hits the dirt.
And that ball hit well into right field. Robertson stayed with it, makes a big round. Worth will throw in behind him. Leadoff single, 8th inning. Next up, Elvis Andrus, who faced Storen Friday night.
So big turn right here by Daniel Robertson. Jason Worth sees it. Tries to backdoor him. Now we'll see if the Rangers and Ron Washington decide to do anything here with a runner on first, nobody out.
Robertson stole 131 bases in his minor league career. He's holding, and a ball bunted in the air. Doug Fister would have caught it, but Ramos had no chance as it went over the screen. Andrus bounced out on a sparkling play by Ian Desmond, with Drew Storen pitching Friday night.
Might throw over here just to see if he's showing bunt again. Got a lead going at first.
Holding. That's 2 bunts foul.
Well, that's usually the game that Ron Washington plays. He gambled earlier with Martin on the hit and run. It didn't pay off, but Martin picked up the squad big time by hitting the home run. And Ron Washington, the third base coach in Oakland. And there were times when he would be so frustrated that the bunt wasn't used more. And it's something that, you know, Oakland doesn't believe in, giving up outs. But Ron's old school. He likes to move runners any way he can.
Oh-2, good lead. Holding. Rangers have out-hit the Nats 8-5. And he tries to bunt on 2 strikes, and now he lays down a perfect one. Ramos had to be quick to throw him out. Sacrifice goes 1-3.
How about that? You don't see that too often. The 2-strike sacrifice bunt by Elvis Andrus, and he's going to get some high fives when he gets back to his dugout. Probably did that on his own. Very rarely will a manager put on the bunt with 2 strikes. Maybe a little frustration that he didn't get it down earlier. Does it with 2, and everybody waiting on the top step. So if he bunts it foul, he's out, puts it in play, and he gets Robertson, who let it off with a single to second base.
Here's Alex Rios, who's 2 for 4 career against Drew Storen. He's come alive today, 2 for 3 after going 0 for 6 in the series. Busting up a personal 0 for 10 with a base hit in the first inning. He's also swiped a base, his 11th. Gets jammed on that one, and it's foul.
A good pitch, perfect location, down and in. Wilson Ramos set up in there, and Drew Storen put it right on his glove. Not only do you get a strike, you've made Rios aware of the fastball in, which may open up that slider down the way.
And Storen will take a little bit off. That's a great changeup to get the strikeout. 2 down.
Well, making a pitch when he has to. You see the changeup grip off the fingertips, turn it over. Rios thinking about, I got to get to that fastball in that I just got jammed on, maybe a little out in front. The hips open up. He runs out of bat, and they're going to put Adrian Beltre on.
Why not? Donnie Murphy on deck is 0 for 2 career against Drew Storen.
Strike. It's pretty close. You say the same thing. Tell you what, he has fun playing baseball, and he kept us all loose in Los Angeles, and he's had a wonderful career. Couldn't be happier for him.
I think about consistency when I think about Adrian Beltre. I mean, not just the Gold Gloves and the home runs, 30 plus, 48 one year, but just consistently year after year. Excellent.
Hey, he's a gamer. He plays hurt. He plays healthy. He's out there every day. He's a grinder. He's definitely a guy you want on your team. Trust me.
Hit 48 homers for the 04 Dodgers, tying Mike Schmidt from way back in 1980, most by a third baseman, until Alex Rodriguez came along and hit 52 3 years after that. No balls and one strike to Donnie Murphy. He's had a good day, 2 for 3. Base hit last time, caught stealing right before the Martin home run. In fact, on the pitch before, that ball landed in the bullpen. Storm with a breaking ball, and that's into center. Here comes Robertson. The Rangers lead 2-0. And that's one of the few runs Drew Storm has given up in quite some time.
Well, the Nat Killer does it again. And we told you about Ron Washington wanting to get Donnie Murphy's bat in the lineup. Said if he ever plays first base, he said no. He said, well, you're in there today. And then 3 hits later and a big RBI, Donnie Murphy has had a big day. 3 for 4 stolen base and now an RBI to put the Rangers up by 2.
And Matt Williams goes and gets the ball from Drew Storen. Can't remember the last time he walked off the mound, and it wasn't the end of an inning. Jerry Blevins coming on to face Leonis Martin. And by visitannapolis.org. Find it here. Well, maybe a chance to wave those foam fingers in the bottom of the 8th or the 9th. Right now, there's a job to do and get out of the top of the 8th inning, and that's Jerry Blevins against Leonis Martin. Blevins pitched a 1-2-3 9th here yesterday. Martin has faced him before. He's 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Fastball to the inside edge.
Fastball in, cutter away, 0-2 count. Well, that power zone was a big one today.
Yeah, that ball was really hit hard. Low screamer right into the bullpen. Second base Beltre, first base Murphy, a run home, top of the 8th. Tried to dart the knees with that heater and miss low, 2-2.
Well, you remember Martin hit the home run on a changeup from Tanner Roark, and he's seen nothing but fastballs here from Blevins.
There's a hook, and he's way out ahead.
And almost got Jordan Zimmerman in the Nats dugout.
He gets the assignment against the Phillies Tuesday night. Top of the 9th at Philadelphia. Mets 2, Phillies 2. David Buchanan for the Phillies, who's 1-0 in 2 starts. And this one out to left field for Nate McLouth. Rangers pick up a big run, but big guns for the Nats with Rendon, Worth, and LaRoche. 2-0 Texas.
Martin solo home run that gave the Rangers a 1-0 lead. Tanner Roark, an amazing game. That was his only mistake all day, and Yu Darvish has been Yu Darvish. And you look at the strikeouts that he's had today. I mean, you talk about not knowing what's coming. That may have been the nastiest pitch of the game to Wilson Ramos. And you see the cut fastball right there, just kind of teasing the outer half of the plate. And look at the late movement. Jason Worth running out of bat. Then a nasty curveball down and into Danny Espinosa. Another slider right there to Wilson Ramos. So Yu Darvish has had it going on. And you just wonder if that 15.5-minute top of the 8th for the Rangers may affect Yu Darvish's rhythm. Pitchers will tell you they like to get it and go out there, and when they have a long seat, sometimes it messes them up. Let's see.
95th pitch coming. 87 with the off speed right in there to Rendon, who put a charge in one last time, lined out to center. Anthony 0 for 3 today. And then 86 looked like a cutter slider. Rafael Soriano for the 9th, it appears. Whether the Nats come back or not. Rendon has gone on 3 pitches, and that's equaling a season high for Darvish now with his 12th strikeout.
Well, last pitch from Darvish looked like it might have been the slider at 80 miles an hour. Curveball. You see Rendon going no stride approach. Tough to put in play.
Jason Worth 1 for 3, base hit, hard hit through the shortstop hole last time. He goes up swinging, and that's right off the end of the bat, indicating late movement.
I think it's more impressive when you think about the first 2 games of this series and the Nats hitters locking it in. Everybody feeling good about themselves up there. And then Darvish doing this so far.
That ball chopped out to short. Andrews, 2 outs.
All right, remember our DC Lexus dealers are donating $250 to the Children's National Medical Center for every home run a Nats player hits this season.
Darvish is at 99 pitches.
Well, Washington just talking to him. He hasn't made a motion. He wants to know if he's okay.
Adam LaRoche, 4th inning yesterday with 2 men aboard.
Just rode one out of here to right center field. Nice catch by Steven Strasburg with a beard on the back end. He's trying to get off of Wilson Ramos right now.
LaRoche dropped that single into left center last time. Nats had 1st and 3rd, 1 out in the 6th. But Darvish struck out Ramos, and then the Desmond fly ball pinned Rios up against the scoreboard, and the Nats haven't threatened since.
But that tack-on run has allowed you, Darvish, to stay in this game. If it was a 1-run game, no way. Washington wouldn't even have asked him.
They've got Sean Tollison. Well, they had Sean Tollison ready. Now they got a left-hander, Neil Koch throwing. And LaRoche gets under that one. Martin battling the sun, waving everybody off, and a 1-2-3-8 for Darvish, who has been virtually untouchable today. 5 hits in 8 innings with 12 Ks.
About their draft experience and the pressures of being a top pick. The Mid-Atlantic Sports Report returns Monday from 5 to 7.
2-0 into the top of the 9th inning. Rangers with the lead. Follow the Nats With MLB.com app on your favorite mobile phone or tablet, get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Nationals.com today.
Well, Rafael Soriano has faced a number of these Ranger hitters. We might see both closers in the 9th inning. Darvish has thrown 102 pitches. They've got Soria warming up. And here's Soriano against Jimenez, Sardinas, and we assume a pinch hitter. Which looks like Michael Choice down in the dugout. So there's Joaquin Soria. He's 10 of 11 saving games this year. Soriano, the Nats closer, 11 for 12. He's greeted by a drive to left center. Bernard Span will have to play it off the wall. And that's Chris Jimenez, the catcher, with a 6-game hitting streak now, 12 base hits.
Yeah, not wasted any time. First pitch ambush right here. Got a fastball right down the middle, drove it in the gap, and saw the reaction from Soriano. He knew that was heading for the gap.
Here's Luis Sardinas.
He is way up in the box, and you would think he's going to bunt.
Yeah, Michael Choice couldn't answer the call to start today, but evidently okay to swing the bat for 1 AB. He is on deck. Sardinas 0 for 1, pair of walks. .92 with a fastball. Popped its way in there for strike 1.
Yeah, coming in today, Sardinas hitting just .211 from the left side, .308 from the right side, so it makes sense that Ron Washington wants the sacrifice bunt. Plus, that's just kind of how you play it at this point in the game. Looking for another run.
By the way, Choice could have been a decoy because they do have some left-handed bats on their bench. Shin-Soo Choo kind of beaten up. They'd probably like to give him a day off. But they do have Mitch Moreland and Rougned Odor in there.
So you're saying that's the wrong choice?
If Ron Washington knows his ball club, whatever he does is the right choice. And I'm pretty sure that man knows what he's doing.
Well, he switched.
It's weird because right now Daniel Robertson,
you can't do that,
who's 2 hitters away, is in the on deck circle. He's not the on deck hitter.
You can't do that. You have to have who's hitting next on deck, or at least,
or in this case, Choo. He's ready to come out.
So it was the wrong choice.
On a 1-2 pitch, that is a bad looking bunt for a strikeout.
Well, the bunt was the wrong choice right there for Ron Washington, because Luis Sardinas couldn't get it down.
Well, it will be Choo. You know, the Nats weren't warming up anybody. It's not like they would see Choice in the on deck circle and do something different there. Shin-Soo Choo is 1 for 8 in this series. And as a pinch hitter this year, he's 0 for 1. So Yu Darvish went 8 innings. Shutout baseball on 5 hits, 2 walks, struck out 12, matching a season high. 102 pitches, 70 strikes. Pretty impressive. His career high in strikeouts, by the way, 15. August 12th of last year at Houston. Shin-Soo Choo against Rafael Soriano, career 2 for 3 with a double and a home run and 2 walks. .92 upstairs. And maybe Soriano doesn't want to have a whole lot to do with this left-handed batter.
Got a base open.
Two 2-0 Texas, top of the ninth. They're trying to add on here, and Soriano gets a strike.
94.
Well, he hasn't pitched since Wednesday in that marathon ball game.
Pretty good velocity today from Soriano. 93, 94, 3-1 count. Throws it right by Chu.
Yeah, he pitched a 1-2-3 ninth inning in that 8-5 10-inning loss and threw only 7 pitches, so he is strong. 3-2 with 1 out. Then he walked in, 2 on, with Daniel Robertson coming in.
All right, here's your fan photo for the day. It's brought to you by AT&T. There they are. And there they are.
Just say the guy's having a good time out.
Guy's having a good time out. You told me to say it. I said it.
Good time out at the ballpark. That's Nick Martinez, a pitcher who pinch hit yesterday, and now he's going to pinch run for Shin-Soo Choo. I'm not sure I remember a series where a pitcher made 2 different appearances in doing something other than what he does for a living.
And Chu's got the bad wheel, so.
Yeah. So here's Daniel Robertson, who got the rally started last inning off Drew Storen with that opposite field leadoff single. Now Soriano's behind him. 2 on, 1 out. Big crowd quiet. Ball 2.
Now Morosi and Desmond, everybody coming to the mound right now. Well, they can tell by the body language that he's frustrated. Trying to calm him down, getting back in the zone. Telling him it's all you need is 1 good pitch and a ground ball, and we got you.
And a 2-0. Pitch up, and Daniel Robertson was trying to hit one onto the contact.
2-0 fastball. It's sitting dead red.
Rookie after 6 years in the minor leagues, where he hit 25 home runs, and a 2-1 pitch. That's on the outside edge.
That could have went either way. Soriano gets a call. A little cut fastball, 92 miles an hour on the black for strike 2.
Now within a pitch of loading the bases with Elvis Andrus on deck. Andrus has had a 2-for-3 day with a sacrifice bunt. And he has a couple of career hits against Soriano. Top of the ninth. And a well hit ball to right for Worth. Jason will back up some. And then tagging is Jimenez and going to third. Rangers runners at the corners, 2 outs.
Pretty good at bat right there by Daniel Robertson. Hit it hard.
Nats baseball on Masson HD. Long ball game today. About 5 minutes short of 3 hours. Top of the 9th inning. Bob FP and Dan with you on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. The Nats will have to come up big in the bottom of the 9th. They want it to be 2-0. Soriano and Andrews may decide that. Elvis Andrews 2 for 3 career against him. Goes up pumping.
I felt something in his back right there. You see him stretching out, swinging left-handed, trying to get that left side of his lower back loose. It's right where he grabbed after that swing.
Target in.
It's a good pitch. And see the reaction from Soriano. He wanted this pitch. Good frame by Ramos.
Out of play, right side. 1-2.
Talking to Mark McLemore, the color analyst for the Rangers. He played with Rafael Soriano in Seattle. He said he got the untuck from Cameron, the center fielder. He used to do it after every game.
I remember Mike Cameron doing that.
He said he stole it from Mike Cameron. So don't let him do it because he stole it. I say, hey, whatever it takes. If it's working for him, I don't care who he got it from.
Yeah. If it's a save, he can do whatever he wants out there as long as it's within the law. 1 ball and 2 strikes still to Elvis Andrews.
I'm not sure I understood that, but that's okay.
I'm just saying, as long as it's legal, you know.
You can't, well.
Clubhouse, whatever. Out here, you're under the law. 2-2. Right field. Worth after it. It's heading for the seats. And Jason will slide just to be safe. Didn't want to slam a shoulder or an elbow into that wall down there.
Pretty good effort by Jason Worth, knowing the fence is approaching. Puts on the brakes at the end. Still hit that cement under there pretty hard. Probably didn't feel good on his bare hand either.
Long top of the 9th inning. Now the count goes full.
Good block.
Wilson Ramos has had a very good day behind the plate. Thrown out a base runner. Handled Tanner Roark, who was struggling early.
Slider in the dirt. Ramos sliding over, getting that hand in front of it. Runner on third, nicely done.
All over the place in this AB, and a lot of it upstairs. Andrews jammed, and that's out of play.
And swing at ball 4 right there. It was coming up and in.
Yeah, and they've got Alex Rios on deck. Runner moving at first. 3-2 pitch is popped up. Ian Ardani. It'll be Espinosa. Took a while, but a scoreless ninth for Soriano. Wilson Ramos, bottom of the ninth. Desmond and McLeod, Joakim Soria on the way.
Texas lead. The Nats trying to go for the sweep today. Not over yet, but we saw today why Yu Darvish is the ace of this Ranger staff.
He sure did, Johnny. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see this team throw up a 3-spot here in the ninth inning. It doesn't matter who you bring in after facing Yu Darvish. He's not going to be the same type pitcher. What an effort, and throwing the ball to small parts of the plate, about 7 or 8 different pitches, all kind of different speeds, even threw one at 59 miles an hour today.
Nats had a couple of great opportunities too in this game.
First and the 6th.
Right.
Runners on third base, first and third with 1 out, and we popped up to short and struck out. And that's about the only 2 opportunities we really had, realistically.
So we will talk about that, and Darvish, and also Tanner Roark pitching himself a heck of a game today. 2-0 Texas. We send it back to Bob and FP for the bottom of the ninth.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Ray. Soria pitched 3 straight days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. For the first time as a Ranger, he had saves in the Wednesday, Thursday games at Minnesota. But he hasn't had a chance to pitch in this series because the Nats have just pounded Texas pitching.
We got a fastball at 91 miles an hour, the curve at 69, so a very slow 12-6 curveball. Slider 79 and a changeup at 85.
Wilson Ramos, Desmond, and McLeod all facing Soria for the first time career.
Nats need a bloop and a blast.
He has a 2.37 ERA, 25 strikeouts in 19 innings, and there's some contact and 1 out on a bouncing ball to Andrews at first. Nats hoping to go over 500 today. The Rangers in a position to go back over the 500 mark. And now down to their final 2 outs. Washington with Desmond and McLeod. Strike 1 to Ian Desmond, who's 0 for 3. Pair of strikeouts and a deep fly ball in the 6th. .91 and straight back it went. And a curveball that's well outside. Soria built his career in Kansas City. High of 43 saves in 2010. He had 42 a couple of years before that. Joined the Rangers last year. He was hurt, had Tommy John surgery in 2012. He has 170 career saves. Ball 2. And he goes off speed and gets the strikeout. 2 down.
Yeah, 75 miles an hour. You look at it right here, just A little curveball, and Desmond way out in front. Nate McLeod's going to try to jump on for Danny Espinosa and keep this thing alive.
Nate 0 for 3 today. Pretty good rip.
Some cut to that fastball at 90 miles an hour.
And nothing but strikes from the 29-year-old closer here, Joakim Soria. Braves have won. They beat the Marlins. That's outside. Phillies and Mets are in extra innings. And the Nats down to their final strike here. And that's it. Still a series win for Washington, but Yu Darvish and Soria, the closer, too much to handle today. Rangers 2, Nationals nothing. Darvish 5-2, Roark 3-4. 3 hours and 6 minutes to play this one today. We're back with you Tuesday night, Nats Extra 6:30. Jordan Zimmerman against the Phils at 7:05. This has been a presentation of Mass and Johnny and Ray straight ahead. And from the booth at Nationals Park, so long for just a while.